YouTube. In this video I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Megacolony machining deck. So this is the machining themed build. So really excited to build this deck when I realized that you could actually make machinings and they've been around for a while compared to say like something like Revengers. But machining has always been my favorite. Megacolony, call it archetype, and so I had to build a deck. It's not really that hard to build either. There's really only like one expensive card, and that's Machining Mantis. Everything else is relatively budget. So it's not that hard to build this deck, surprisingly. And probably because no one really plays Protect clans right now, because we're not really in a Protect meta. But this deck was probably a lot more expensive to build before the, before Bermudas were so super good, and before we transitioned into an Excel meta. So anyway, start off running 4 Machining Spark Hercules. He used to be a limit break machining, but now he's not, and now he's really good. So he's your main guy who stands your rear guards, rests your opponent's units, gives 5,000 power to your rear guards, and makes your opponent's units all get minus 5k power for Counterblast 2. He has another effect. Both of these effects are Vanguard only though. Put a grade 2 or less rear guard into your soul, and this unit gets 5k for each of your opponent's units that are rested. So it includes their Vanguard. So you can do that to help push for game, build your center line, which Protect does kind of need to do oftentimes. Next, we're running 3 Machining Stag Beetle. Because Machining Stag Beetle, he's a classic. He used to be a 10k, grade 3. Isn't that awesome? I know. Now, he still calls his two stuff. They don't have to be machining from the soul. That's cool. It calls him at rest, and he's Vanguard or rear guard. And if he was on V, he gets the original attack of the units called. So, pretty good turn 1, turn 3 ride, or first ride. And then if you need to, you can ride on top of Hercules if you don't have any counterblasts and you want to get another Protect marker if you need one. Just keep in mind that those units won't have a way of standing if you do that. So he's usually he's at 3 the same way Amaterasu's at 3, because occasionally there'll be games where you need to ride him first because you'll open up with him or you'll draw into him and you don't have this guy yet. So stuff like that can happen. So you run 3 of him. The only other grade 3 I'm running is 2 Machining Ornamental. Now there are there is another machining. It's a rare. I think it's Machining Centipede, which I am curious to try out. I do have it. I just haven't changed the deck. But 2 of this guy. Otherwise, if you don't want to run him, you don't have to. Just run 4 Stag Beetle. Because it's just better, more consistent to use him multiple times if you do open up with him. But we are running this guy at 2 because he does have a Vanguard rear guard effect. When placed, rest all of the rear guards and resolve one of the effects below. You can Soul Blast. Well, basically you can either force the opponent to only be able to stand 2 units during the next stand phase, or you choose all rested rear guards and they get 5k power. Now, if you Soul Blast a grade 3 with the machining, you can get both effects. So the main thing with him is he is designed to work with Machining Spark Hercules. So you can't really do his effect, as far as I know, you can't really do it properly with Machining Stag Beetle because there's no way to stand any of your rear guards. So you kind of have to combo him with Hercules. So that's why we only run 2 of him, because he's not all that good as a Vanguard. Now you can use it to prevent the opponent from standing up more than 2 units. So usually what they'll do is they'll stand a front rear guard and they'll stand their Vanguard. But it'll restrict one of their lanes. So basically what he does is he does what the old Megacolony clan was known for, which is preventing things from standing. So he's kind of a throwback to that style of play, which is pretty cool. So that's why we're running 2 of him. So you guys know me, I like to run the 9 grade 3s in Protect because It's PG fodder. You got a lot of, if you go Protect 1, you got a lot of Sentinels. So it doesn't hurt to run that extra grade 3. And it gives you more options. So for grade 2s, Machining Mantis, this is probably the hardest card to obtain right now. It's an old card from EVO1, so it's been out for a while, and it's kind of hard to find. So it's pretty expensive, actually, if you wanted to build the deck and run Machining Mantis. But it is pretty essential, I would say, to help your ride consistency. It's really nice because it searches grade 3. For Counterblast 1, you look at 6, and he's placed on Vanguard or Regard, it goes off. And if you put a card into your hand, shuffle your deck, and he gets 6k power. So there's literally like no negative of that effect. He doesn't go in the soul. He doesn't retire himself. You just add the card to your hand. That's just really, really nice. Next we run 4 Bloody Hercules because the deck counterblasts a ton. Machining Mantis counterblasts. This guy counterblasts. So when his attack hits, you can countercharge 1 and one of your units gets 6k power. So he's really old school style countercharger, and it's an underappreciated card. The cool thing about him too is when he's placed, you can soul blast 1 and he gets 6k power. You're going to re-ride quite a bit for your gifts, so you will build soul naturally that way. And there are cards that do go into the soul as well. And the only other grade 2 I'm running is Nasty Smog. Now you could run other options, but this deck I try to keep it budget. Really, the only card that's going to be hard to obtain is Machining Mantis, but he is pretty essential, so just keep that in mind. But Nasty Smog is dirt cheap, and he does prevent the opponent from standing. So if the card's in the opposite column of him, so across on the opponent's side, the rear guard in the back row cannot stand, and all your opponent's units in the same column can intercept. So the rear guard in front of him that's in the front row can't intercept, and the rear guard in front of him behind him cannot stand. So he shuts that whole column down, essentially. That's why I like him. It's kind of an underappreciated card. For grade 1s, you gotta run 4 Machining Hornet. Just like Mantis, he's a machining, and he helps you search your grade 3s. So when his attack hits, and it's Vanguard or Vanguard, so he's your main primary ride target as well. So when his attack hits, or the attack it boosted hits, look at 6 cards from the top of the deck, reveal up to 2, or reveal up to 1 grade 3, put it in your hand, and shuffle your deck. If you put the card in your hand, and he's on the rear guard circle, you put him into the soul. So kind of like Dragon Dancer Rai, but it's better because it's generic, and it searches any grade 3. So you don't even have to search a machining either, so that's why I really like it. So very, very good card. It does go into the soul though, but that's fine because we do use a lot of soul blasts. Then we run 4 Phantom Black. Phantom Black prevents your opponent from calling normal units if you discard a card when he boosts. That's really good because it shuts down grade 1s and 2s from hand. Now, occasionally there will be somebody running the grade 1 Sentinel, so he shuts that down as well, which is interesting. But most people don't care because they're running the Draw Sentinels. Draw Sentinels are really the thing right now until Bushiroad continues to make newer grade 1 Sentinels that incentivize us to not run the Draw Sentinels. But for the most part, I expect Draw Sentinels to still be popular, still be the primary staple Sentinel type in most of the decks, at least for this year. But Phantom Black, keep that in mind, he can potentially prevent a Sentinel block if they're running grade 1 Sentinels. And not a lot of decks do, but if you're up against someone who has 12 crit, and you gain, if you have that knowledge, you can use that to your advantage using him. So just keep that in mind, because 12 crit decks are forced to run the grade 1 Sentinels. Now, however, in a mirror match, if you're up against another Protect clan, they will still be able to block him with their gift Sentinel. So that is also worth mentioning. So he's really good at trying to close out the game, though. Next, 4 Machining Lady Bomber. So this is another machining card that has the ability to countercharge 1 place, soul blast 1, and rest this unit. Choose any number of any fighter's rear guards and rest them. If your opponent has 3 or less rear guards, you countercharge 1. So a little bit of an inconsistent effect, but sometimes, they don't have, this card I found is very good at refunding machining mantis's cost in the early game before the opponent has been able to build up a full field. So that's usually when you'll see that effect go off, which is good because it will help set up for his Counterblast 2 effect. So that's why we run 4 copies of it, so that we'll be able to use its effect. Then we run the 1 small Captain Butterfly Officer because it's another way to countercharge. And if we weren't running the 9 grade 3s, then we would probably run 2 of these. So that's 13 grade 1s. And then the trigger lineup is the standard 4 Paralyzed Madonna Draw Sentinels, and then Jewel Flasher and Shelter Beetle. So 8 criticals, and then of course your Medical Battler, the Healer, and the Machining Worker Ant. So that is my machining deck profile. Hope you guys enjoy that. Megacolony doesn't see a whole lot of play right now, but I feel like they're one of the better Protect clans. They have an interesting way of disrupting the opponent. They're definitely a control-oriented build or clan, and I like control-based clans like Link Joker and Megacolony for that reason. So I hope you guys enjoy the deck profile, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks.